In the winter of 1942, across Europe, Britain and parts of Asia, millions of ordinary families faced a terrifying reality. Police were overwhelmed, blackouts were enforced, air raids were common, and looters knew that homes were often left unguarded. Fathers were at war. Neighbours were exhausted. Electricity failed without warning. In many towns, if someone tried to force their way into your house at night, help might not arrive for hours. So families improvised. They turned scraps of wire, glass bottles, tin cans, rope and furniture into warning systems and deterrents. These were not movie-style booby traps. They were practical, quiet, legal ways to buy time, raise alarm and discourage intruders without risking innocent lives. And here's the part most people don't realise. Many of those same techniques still outperform modern alarms when the power goes out, when networks fail, or when you simply want a system no hacker can touch. Today, we're going to uncover how these forgotten World War II home traps worked, why they were so effective, and how you can adapt the safe versions for modern home security. Why wartime families relied on mechanical traps instead of technology. During World War II, most homes had no electronic alarms. Radios were restricted. Phone lines were unreliable. In bombed cities, even street lighting disappeared. That forced people to think in mechanical terms. Anything that made noise, created resistance, or revealed movement became valuable. Wartime manuals distributed in Britain and occupied Europe stressed three principles. Early warning mattered more than confrontation. Visibility discouraged intruders, and layered defences were more effective than a single barrier. These ideas remain central to modern security design. Today's motion sensors and cameras follow the same logic. The difference is that wartime systems worked with gravity, tension, sound, and simple physics. How Tripline noise alarms protected hallways and staircases. One of the most common World War II home traps was the Tripline alarm. Families stretch thin cord, fishing line or wire across dark hallways, stairwells or back entrances. This line was connected to metal objects such as tins, spoons, glass bottles, or even small bells. When someone walked through, the line pulled the objects down, creating a sudden crash that could be heard throughout the house. To apply this safely today, choose an interior hallway or garage entrance. Attach a thin cord, about ankle height. Tie it to a lightweight bundle of metal or glass objects hung behind a door or shelf. When disturbed, it produces immediate noise. No batteries are needed. No electronics can fail. During power outages or travel, this simple device still works exactly as it did in 1943. How pressure-based floor warnings revealed silent movement. In occupied cities, families learned that skilled burglars often removed shoes and walked carefully. To counter this, people created pressure warning floors. They placed loose boards, stacked paper, dried leaves, or thin metal sheets under rugs near doors and windows. When stepped on, these materials crinkled, shifted, or snapped. A modern version might use aluminum foil layered beneath a rug near a back door, or thin plastic trays under mats in a garage. The sound is subtle but unmistakable in a quiet house at night. World War II households used this technique because it worked even when intruders tried to move slowly. So, let me explain how window vibration alarms expose forced entry attempts. You see, glass was quite expensive during the war, and, well, broken windows were terribly hard to replace. Families understandably protected them very carefully. One method involved hanging small metal objects or glass pieces on strings near the window frames. Any vibration from prying, tapping or cutting would cause the objects to rattle. Today, lightweight wind chimes or metal tags hung inside window frames achieve the same effect. This simple technique detects tampering before a window fully opens, which honestly gives you crucial reaction time. Now, let's talk about how furniture barricades created noise and resistance. Rather than using heavy barricades, WWII families actually preferred unstable furniture stacks. Chairs were leaned against doors, tables balanced on stools, and shelves were positioned so they'd collapse if pushed. The goal wasn't really to trap someone, but to create sudden noise and a bit of physical delay. For modern homes, a simple example is placing a lightweight chair under a doorknob at night, so that opening the door knocks it over. Another idea is leaning stacked boxes behind a rarely used entrance. When disturbed, they alert everyone instantly. Moving on, let's see how light exposure traps defeated nighttime stealth. During blackouts, light was, tightly controlled. But inside homes, small hidden lamps or reflective surfaces were sometimes used defensively. Mirrors were placed to catch flashlight beams. White fabric was hung to reflect movement, and even shallow pans of water were used to reflect light and movement shadows. You can adapt this by placing reflective tape or small mirrors near entrances so they bounce light into sleeping areas when someone approaches. It's subtle, but honestly very effective, especially in dark houses. Now, here's something that's, often overlooked. Wartime traps, you see, were really focused on warning rather than causing harm. An important truth, and one that's often missed, is that during the Second World War, home defence measures did their best to avoid injury whenever possible. Causing harm could easily bring about legal trouble, retaliation, or even danger to one's own family members. So most systems were actually designed to wake up residents, scare off intruders, and, simply buy a bit of time. Interestingly, modern law reflects this same principle. Non-lethal warning systems are legal, ethical, and frankly, much safer. The smartest lesson we can draw from wartime practice is that deterrence really beats confrontation every single time. Layered defence, made homes far harder to target during the war. The most secure World War II homes, they used multiple traps. There might be a tripline in the hall, some noise under the rugs, a window rattle system, and even a furniture barrier. Each layer increased the time it took for an intruder to go undetected. Thieves, after all, prefer speed and silence. When every single step makes noise, most of them just leave. You can actually apply this today by combining simple alarms in different zones. One near doors, one in the hallways, and another near valuables. Each layer really multiplies the overall effectiveness. Now, why do these forgotten techniques still outperform many modern systems? Electronic alarms rely on power, networks, and of course, maintenance. But World War II traps, they rely on physics. Gravity, for example, does not need updates. Tension doesn't expire. And sound, it doesn't require any subscriptions. That's exactly why many survivalists still use mechanical systems as backups even today. These methods are especially valuable during storms, blackouts, rural living, or, extended travel when digital systems may fail. Bringing wartime wisdom into modern preparedness is honestly a smart move. The real lesson of World War II home traps isn't about paranoia. It's about resilience. Ordinary people protected their families with creativity, patience, and, above all, common sense. They built systems that worked quietly in the background and only activated when needed. So, start small. Secure one entrance, add a hallway alarm. Improve window awareness. Build those layers gradually. Over time, you create a home that, in a way, quietly watches itself. So, just a few final thoughts for the serious history and preparedness enthusiasts out there. These forgotten wartime techniques remind us that security isn't really about gadgets. It's about understanding human behavior, physical space, and, well, simple mechanics. The families who survived bombing, rationing, and occupation did so because they learned to adapt quickly and think defensively. If this deep dive into forgotten World War II home defense methods helped you see security differently, make sure to subscribe to the channel, share this video with fellow history and preparedness enthusiasts, and help preserve this practical knowledge for the next generation.